There's something primal, almost mythic, about the roar of a V8 echoing off canyon walls or cutting through the stillness of a pine-lined mountain road. That's exactly what you get when you slide behind the wheel of the 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge. Raw, unapologetic power wrapped in a coat of flamboyant orbit orange and topped off with a spoiler that screams attitude. This isn't just a car, it's a declaration of rebellion, a time capsule of American muscle, and the ultimate companion for a road trip unlike any other. As we fired up the 400 cubic inch Ram Air 3 engine and felt it come alive beneath us, it wasn't just the beginning of a drive, it was the ignition of a full-throttle experience through memory, metal, and open highway. From the moment we pulled out of the driveway, it was clear, this was going to be one of those drives that lives forever, not just in footage, but in the soul. Every shift of the 4-speed Hurst shifter, every blast of acceleration on a long straightaway, reminded us that the 1970 GTO Judge doesn't just move, you feel it in your chest. The rumble of the exhaust isn't noise, it's music from a bygone era, a mechanical symphony that drowns out the chaos of modern life and replaces it with the rhythm of freedom. The Judge was Pontiac's answer to a muscle car scene that was getting louder, bolder, and brasher by the year. And in 1970, they went all in. It wasn't just the performance that made the GTO Judge special, it was the personality. This car had swagger, from its psychedelic graphics to its unapologetic attitude. It wasn't built to blend in, it was made to turn heads and make hearts race. On this road trip, every time we pulled into a gas station or parked by a scenic overlook, people gathered. Old-timers who once owned one. Younger gearheads who only knew it from posters or video games. Strangers who suddenly became friends over shared stories and reverence. And that's the magic of the Judge. It's not just transportation, it's a cultural artifact that connects generations. As we wound through desert highways, hugged sharp mountain switchbacks, and thundered down long stretches of coastal road, the GTO Judge never failed to thrill. This wasn't about perfect handling or modern creature comforts. It was about visceral driving. You feel the road. You hear every nuance of the engine. You work for the performance, and the reward is pure, unfiltered joy. Every bump and every roar reminds you why cars like this are legends. But the 1970 GTO Judge isn't just about nostalgia. It's about experiencing something real in a world that's increasingly virtual. There's no traction control, no digital screens, no lane keep assist, just you, the road, and one of the most iconic muscle cars ever built. It's liberating. It's raw. And it's absolutely glorious. Whether we were cruising past ghost towns, powering up high passes, or parking under neon-lit motels, the Judge made every moment cinematic. It felt like stepping into a movie where we weren't just the audience, we were the stars. And at the center of it all was a machine that has stood the test of time, not because it was practical, but because it was unforgettable. The Judge doesn't apologize for being loud, bold, or brash. It celebrates it. And that's exactly what this road trip was about, celebrating the spirit of freedom, individuality, and American muscle that the 1970 GTO Judge represents. So buckle up. This isn't just a drive, it's a journey into the heart of what makes muscle cars magical. This is the Judge. And this beast is still ruling the road, 1 mile at a time. There are muscle cars, and then there are legends. The 1970 Pontiac GTO Judge is firmly in the latter category, a machine that defined an era and set the standard for raw American horsepower. Born during the golden age of muscle cars, the Judge wasn't just a GTO trim level. It was an attitude, a performance badge that stood for no compromise speed, style, and swagger. Introduced as a response to the growing youth market and the call for affordable performance, the Judge packs serious muscle in a bold, in-your-face package. With its standard Ram Air 3 V8 and the option to upgrade to the fire-breathing Ram Air 4, the Judge wasn't just fast, it was ferocious. And with outrageous color schemes like orbit orange, wild decals, and a rear spoiler that seemed more suited to a racetrack than a highway, the GTO Judge was as visually loud as it was audibly menacing. Restoring a car like the Judge is no ordinary project. It takes a level of care, commitment, and obsession that borders on reverence. The process began with a complete teardown. Every bolt, every panel, every inch of wiring inspected, catalogued, and preserved or replaced. The original 400 cubic inch engine was carefully rebuilt to exact factory specs, retaining its raw, snarling character but benefiting from modern machining and fine-tuning. Original paint codes were meticulously matched. The legendary Hurst T-handle shifter was sourced from a vintage parts supplier after months of searching. From the GTO badging to the interior seat stitching, every detail had to be just right. Because restoring a Judge isn't just about making a car roadworthy again, it's about resurrecting a legend with its soul intact. With the restoration complete, the only thing left was to take it out where it belongs, the open road. Not for a trailer show and shine session, not for a static museum piece, but for a real drive, the kind that makes your heart race and your ears ring. We planned a journey through the West, chasing mountain passes, desert stretches, and coastline curves that would let the Judge stretch its legs and let us feel every ounce of its power. Because the GTO Judge wasn't built to sit still. It was built to move, fast, loud, and proud. The moment we hit the ignition, it was like waking a sleeping beast. The engine snarled to life with a deep, throaty rumble that shook the garage walls. No modern engine notes, no turbo whistles, just pure mechanical fury, the kind that stirs something deep inside any car enthusiast. We pulled onto the highway, and the Judge roared to life. Acceleration wasn't just quick, it was violent, a sudden surge of torque that pinned us back into our seats and launched us down the road with authority. Shifting through the gears felt deliberate and rewarding, like man and machine working in perfect unison. As the road opened up, we began to appreciate just how well the Judge was engineered for this kind of driving. Despite its age, the car felt planted and confident, its wide track and heavy body giving it a reassuring stability in the corners. The upgraded suspension components we fitted during the restoration provided a firm but comfortable ride, and the period-correct radial tires offered plenty of grip when the roads got twisty. But it was the sound, oh, the sound, that defined the experience. That deep, rhythmic growl at idle, transforming into a furious scream at full throttle, was nothing short of intoxicating. The Judge devoured mile after mile of blacktop, its vivid orange paint glinting in the sun as we cruised through a landscape as varied and dramatic as the car itself. From wide-open desert highways flanked by red rock formations to winding mountain roads lined with towering pines, the scenery was as much a character in our journey as the car. We stopped often, not because we needed to, but because people wanted to talk. At every gas station, diner, and overlook, folks came over with stories, questions, and admiration. The Judge didn't just attract attention, it sparked conversations, kindled memories, and turned strangers into friends. Driving the Judge was like time traveling back to a period where things were bolder, louder, and a little more rebellious. Its split grille, Endura bumper, and hood-mounted hatch weren't just design choices, they were statements. The interior, with its bucket seats, wood grain dash, and rally gauges, felt both retro and remarkably functional. Everything you needed to go fast and have fun was within reach. But we didn't just rely on nostalgia. Modern touches like a discreetly installed Bluetooth stereo, upgraded disc brakes, and improved cooling systems made the ride more enjoyable and reliable without compromising the car's classic appeal. The GTO Judge has a timeless quality that few vehicles can claim. It wasn't built to chase trends or follow rules. It was built to lead, to excite, to embody the spirit of American performance. And today, over 50 years after it first hit the streets, it still turns heads and sets hearts racing. In a world dominated by silent electric cars and digital everything, the Judge is refreshingly analog, raw, real, and raucous. It's the kind of car that demands your attention and rewards your passion. Our road trip was more than just a drive. It was an adventure. We explored hidden mountain towns where time seemed to stand still, discovered forgotten roadside attractions that felt like treasures, and rolled through quiet valleys where the only sound was the GTO's low, steady rumble. We slept under the stars, parked at the edge of lakes, and fired up the Judge each morning with the excitement of kids on Christmas. We met fellow travelers, some in modern sports cars, some on motorcycles, and others in their own lovingly restored classics. There was a shared respect, a mutual understanding that what we were doing wasn't just driving. It was living. The road trip brought laughter, challenge, and a deep sense of satisfaction. There were moments of pure exhilaration, like blasting through a mountain tunnel with the windows down and the engine howling. And there were quiet reflections, like watching the sunset from the hood of the car, sipping coffee in the cool evening air. The Judge never let us down. It ran strong, ran proud, and reminded us with every mile why it's considered one of the greatest muscle cars of all time. And now, with the journey still fresh in our minds, it's clear. The 1970 GTO Judge isn't just a car. It's a symbol. A rolling monument to a time when cars had character, when performance was visceral, and when the road was an open invitation. For us, this road trip wasn't just about revisiting the past. It was about proving that legends never die. They evolve, they endure, and most importantly, they inspire. The legacy of the 1970 GTO Judge is more than just metal and horsepower. It's a living, breathing testament to an era when cars were built with soul, when design was daring, and when the roar of an engine could stir something primal in the hearts of those lucky enough to hear it. Classic muscle cars like the Judge continue to captivate new generations not because of nostalgia alone, but because they represent something real: freedom, rebellion, craftsmanship, and unfiltered emotion. In a world increasingly automated and sanitized, these machines stand as defiant reminders that driving can be an experience, not just a commute. They're not relics of a bygone era. They're icons that still pulse with relevance, demanding to be seen, heard, and driven. The GTO Judge, in particular, holds a special place in that pantheon. It wasn't just a fast car. It was a cultural flashpoint. It shouted when others whispered. It dared to be loud in every sense of the word, and in doing so, it etched its name into the history books of American performance. From its unmistakable styling to its thunderous power plant, the Judge redefined what it meant to be a muscle car. It was confidence on four wheels. And today, restored to its former glory and unleashed on the open road, it proves that its magic hasn't faded one bit. If anything, the passing years have only deepened its mystique. It's a car that doesn't just belong to the past, it transcends it. As we put the last few miles of our journey behind us and let the engine cool under the evening sky, we're left with more than just photographs and fuel receipts. We're left with memories that feel like scenes from a film: sunlit highways, spontaneous roadside conversations, and the echo of a V8 bouncing off canyon walls. We're left with the certainty that this car, this experience, will live on in us long after the dust has settled. Because the Judge isn't just a muscle car. It's a reminder of who we were, who we still are, and who we can be when we chase the road less traveled with something wild and wonderful under our right foot. So here's to the gearheads, the dreamers, the builders, and the storytellers. To those who keep the legacy of cars like the GTO Judge alive not just in garages, but in motion. If you've ever rebuilt an engine in your driveway, planned a cross-country trip just to feel the wind in your hair, or stared a little too long at a passing classic, you already understand. And if you haven't yet taken that leap, maybe now's the time. Find your Judge. Find your road. And write your own chapter in this epic, ever-evolving story of speed, style, and soul. The legend continues, and it's waiting for you to take the wheel.